Living history. Combat stories as told by those who were there.
And today we have the honor and the privilege of hearing the story of an A-26 pilot flying low-level ground support missions in the Korean conflict. He also flew the C-47, bringing back wounded soldiers and Marines from the Chosin reservoir area.
Went to Korea and I flew 55 combat missions in the Douglas A-26 or B-26 as they call it then, Tucson. And that's where our 452nd Bomb Wing and the Night Intruder Squadron was operating from. We would take off every night, single ships. Every 10 minutes a single ship would take off. And they confirmed that our target was still going to be Sinanju. There was a fuel dump up there, and that's near the Yalu River on the west side of North Korea. So anyway, we got up there. We're in the cloud solid, and we're at 10,000 feet. And I made a 360, and I asked my navigator, I said, "We can't get through this down to that thing." And I said, "You know where we are?" He said, "Sure, I know right where we are, Woody." So I said, "Okay, give me a heading." So he gave me a heading, and we started let down at 500 feet a minute. And thank goodness he was right, because we were over the mountains, and we came out, headed right for the ocean on sea level. We actually broke out about 1,800 feet, and dead ahead of us was this fuel dump. You could see they even had their lights on. So we trailed the bombs out, and we blew it to smithereens, and then we couldn't even get back to our base. They did, because the field was closed at Busan, so they sent us over to Miho, Japan, and we landed there. But we were, that night, only 2 airplanes in the Far East Air Force, the 5th Air Force, got off, and only 1 plane hit their target, and that was us.
Great.
So for that, we got the Distinguished Flying Cross, but my navigator is the one that deserved it, because he was there. If it hadn't been for him, I would never have made the penetration. When the Chinese first came into the war, the 1st Marine Division, the 7th Infantry were trapped up at the Chosin Reservoir, and we had 3 C-47s attached to our bomb wing down at Busan, and I happened to be current in it, so they needed all the C-47s to get to evacuate the wounded out there, so they sent me up there, and I made 2 trips out of the Chosin Reservoir. They had a small strip up there that the Marines had carved out on the frozen ground. It was cold. That was December of '50. And all we could do, we could get the C-47 in, that's 3,000 foot clearing. All we could do is take the wounded out. We'd fly them down to a big base at Ham Hung and transfer them to hospital plane, fly them over to Japan. But the Marines, the ones we could take were the severely wounded that were on litters, had been given morphine. We laid them on the floor of the airplane, got them out. And the rest of the Marines and 7th Infantry, some of them were standing there with their arms in slings and waiting they had to walk out. And told them we're sorry we couldn't take everybody, and that's all right. They thanked us anyway.
You may contact the Palm Springs Air Museum at 760-778-6262 for more information concerning the Veterans History Project. We're happy to interview any veteran or civilian who participated in any of our country's military conflicts, and will provide a DVD of the interview for the family.